Hey there, so this is taken from my stream on twitch.tv/SurwickHD. I stream there fairly often, and we'll be streaming Ashes of Creation as much as we possibly can. We will be live on November 8th at 9 a.m. waiting for the 10 a.m. launch time for us Wave 1 people that weren't all the way in Phase 1, Wave 1, the early testers. So we will be live and we'll be playing as soon as we possibly can on that section. So feel free to check it out. I will be there, happy to wait. And this is basically just my thoughts on Ashes of Creation as a whole, from an outside perspective looking in, and just from somebody that's looked at it and has watched it kind of grow from a distance without being one of the early testers. So yeah, hopefully see you there.
Dude, I am fucking hyped for it. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff from the reviews that I have been seeing from the people that got in on Ashes. So I'm excited to experience it for myself, finally. Almost got a key for Ashes. I mean, fuck, dude. It's gotten a lot of good stuff, so I mean, if you get a key, it's like all supposed to be like grouped content and stuff like that, and then like you get access to all subsequent like betas and everything. So if you feel like supporting the game, but if not, like there's so many people making content on it, like I'm gonna be fucking playing the shit out of it when I can, just to see how it is, because it is from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, it is like a true fucking alpha. So like it's not necessarily in the form of Star Citizen, because Star Citizen, what it is there's a lot there still. But from Ashes, there's not a whole lot for what it is, but there is still a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a massive game. Yeah, no, like, it's one of those things, if you're getting in on it now, it's you want to support it and you want to be essentially a tester. What it is you are, in fact, testing the game. Because I think at least in Wave 1, it's like weekend spot tests and stuff like that, and they're going to be primarily like server testing to make sure the servers are stable. So like even then, it'll be a lot better in like Wave 2. And I think that's when they're running for like a week at a time, fully, instead of just weekends. And they say there's gonna be more content there, but you never know. I think once they get their server meshing tech all set up and everything the way they want, and that can handle at least the kind of numbers they kind of want to see, I think it'll be pretty cool in Wave 2. But there's also the fact that they've been talking about like everybody that's played it, it's like there's less content than Alpha 1, which is interesting, but it's also, I can see why. Because having worked in the industry, I can see that, especially they're trying to test server meshing and like the actual tech stuff as opposed to content. That's what they want to make sure is working. So that's why they can take a lot of that out in newer builds and turn it off, so that way that's not affecting the testing of the servers and stuff like that, and it takes it out as a variable, which to me that makes sense, but to a lot of people it doesn't. And that's why a lot of people are really like, you're gonna hear good things and bad things, but a lot of people are upset about it, the fact that it is less, like, this seems like less of a game than Alpha 1. And, well, it's crazier tech. They made a whole jump to a new, it's not a new engine, but it's an upgraded version. So if anybody has ever done anything in Unreal and tried to upgrade to a newer version of the engine, a lot of shit can break. Surprisingly. Like, a lot of shit can fucking break. I'm still excited for it, though. I'm excited that I get to be a part of its development, which is why I love Star Citizen too. And people always, they talk shit about Star Citizen, and I understand why. And there's a lot of hate going around, and I understand why. I fully do. Like, it's a game that has been in alpha for 10 years, and everybody's afraid that's what Ashes of Creation is going to be, because it is one of those games where there's, oh, it feels like feature creep. Like, they want all of this stuff, all of this massive stuff that just seems fucking impossible. And they, from what I can see, they're making it happen, but it's going to be very slow. It's the same thing Star Citizen. They're creating a universe with fucking star systems. Oh, fuck. Personally, to be close to finish or release. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, for a lot of people, that's how it's going to be, because there is, what it seems like, there is a lot of people going into it right now expecting, oh, it's alpha, well, alpha 2, but it's like a full game. And no, that's not how alphas work at all. Because I don't know if you've read into like New World's development at all, which I'm not saying that this is what it's gonna be like, but because New World is its own thing. But New World was a whole different game, like in the alpha. It was an entirely different game. And they changed it later on to be like an MMO type thing, I'm sure, but either way, it is one of those things, like, if you want the full experience, like, as a player, waiting until sometime close to release would be the thing. It's probably gonna be years. Like, fucking years. Like, Star Citizen, if people were waiting for 1.0, God, they're gonna be waiting a while. Because even now, as they say we're closer to 1.0, we fucking might be. But the game's also been playable in alpha for fucking over 10 years. And I keep saying it. I keep sounding like a broken record. I know I do. But, like, as much as we want to believe in these are massive ideas that they want to do, and it's what players want, but the technology is what's holding people back. So games like Star Citizen and Ashes are going to be under fire for all of this, because they want these. They're privately, not necessarily privately funded, but mostly they're not publicly traded. So, like, crowdfunded, Intrepid's funded primarily by Steven. Which, I mean, that's pretty cool. The way I see it, because, like, it's a man putting his money where his mouth is, quite literally. Not much worry. I had zero expectations for it. I can't do that for Ashes. I have high hopes. Yeah, I can feel that. Like, if you go into it with high hopes and you get, like, a true fucking alpha where there's not a lot there. Like, you're testing features. You're making sure features work. It's going to be buggy as fuck. Like, they promise, oh, what was it? It was like 20 some odd nodes or something like that. There's like one right now. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt going in. And I think that's, people go into Star Citizen the same way too. And that's why they get pissed. They go in expecting this massive game because this is what the devs have been promising forever. And, like, it's getting there. You can see it getting there if you've been following the development. That's where a lot of my hopes come from. Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, it's always cool to see that kind of thing, that kind of dedication where, like, the man's is putting, like, his own fortune up against it from all his other business ventures. He's like, no, this is his dream. This is what he wants. So it's as much as I don't want to say it, like, it's a game made for players by players, even though it's not, like, actually, but you know what I mean. Fully fleshed out game, but it's not there yet. Yeah, it's because they've been advertising all of these features and people go into it with that idea. Like, Ashes of Creation, it's finally releasing. Because we got Alpha 2, and it's not, like, super fucking chokehold to who can get in. Because you can just buy a key. And you can buy a Wave 1 key all the way up until November 1st. Hey there, Future Rook here. So at the time of the stream, Ashes of Creation had a deadline for the Wave 1
keys to sell out on November 1st. They'd stop selling them. That has since been updated to Saturday, November 30th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So you have until then if you want to get into and explore the first wave. If you buy it after November 8th, you immediately can get in. You do not have to wait. So I will have a link in the description if you want to use that as a referral. Be cool. If not, totally fine. There will be a link to the actual shop anyways down there to purchase that. But again, as I reiterate many times throughout this video, it is fully a test, and you will be testing. It is not a full game. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you out in Vera.
And that's just for wave 1, which is weekend tests. And then wave 2 is where they go into like, it's open fully for weeks, like a week, and then they take a couple days and then a week, so that way they can do whatever. And then wave 3 isn't even until what, March or May? One of the two. Hold on. It's March or May. I can't remember exactly. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So the Alpha 2. Yeah, they don't even have like all the classes and everything, but yeah, okay. So phase 1, all the failed MMO games that come out, he's risking a lot. Dude, he is, because there's been a lot of Kickstarter MMOs that just crash out. Like, oh, there was one a while ago that I had high hopes for. It was like Raven something. I can't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, see, this is the people that got the Kickstarter add-ons. This is when phase 1 gets to go in. Continue subsequent fest days. Yeah, December, and then May 1st is phase 3, when it's going to operate 24/7, which is really fucking cool. And I think that's when it's not going to be necessarily what is it? It's not going to be necessarily like out, and it's not going to be full release. It's still going to be alpha, but it's going to be phase 3. So I do believe in all of this testing in the months, we're going to be testing mostly like core systems, like making sure that it's quote unquote feature complete type thing. And then they start implementing more content in this phase. If I had to guess, this is when they'd be adding more content, is phase 3. And then phase 1 and 2 are primarily going to be, because everything they are building on relies on their server tech. And I don't know if you've been keeping up with their with the live streams and everything like that, but what they've said they've done is basically torn apart Unreal Engine's like server tech and rebuilt it from the ground up, so that way it can support more like multi-threading stuff, which I can't even fucking comprehend. And I know a little bit about like networking and programming and stuff, but just to think of that, holy fuck. That is like creating a fucking human being, like on that level, like molecularly. If I had to compare it to anything, like I'm sure I'm going way overkill here, but if I had to compare it to anything, it would be that. Just from my limited knowledge of what I can do and what I've learned. It's kind of wild for someone who has no idea. Yeah, exactly. But I think their main problem is it's not with the tech. It's the way they're kind of marketing it, because from what I've seen, again, I haven't played the game. I haven't gotten in yet. November 8th, that's when I get to touch it for the first time. But from what I can see and what I've heard from other content creators and everything like that, is that their streams show a lot more content than what's actually currently in their testing, which, I mean, it's testing. Again, this is testing. So they're kind of marketing it that way so people go in and see that, and then there's all these like features and stuff, and that's exactly what it is. It's fucking marketing. It's marketing. Intrepid is marketing, and people aren't realizing that. Like, this is a test build that can support however many people they currently have on there. And what they're doing now is they're opening up the servers so people can get in, flood the servers. They're stress testing their server technology. because so far it's only been people that have been in there before, which I don't even know the exact numbers of who had like pre-alpha access and all that from the Kickstarters, and then all of their in-house QA. I don't know if they are like outsourcing QA. They might be, but that's the kind of test that they can do, and that's all in-house, like closed, like more under control tests. And what they're doing now is it's all out of control. It's not, oh God, there's a word for it. Why can't I think of it? There's a word for it between like, there's like a control group, and then they're just letting it wild. You know what I mean? Letting the servers flood to see what it can handle. Like, it's straight up stress testing. Show other companies that you can spend years making a good game without it being the same as everything else and still have a really profitable game. For real. Like Ashes, it's been in development, I don't even fucking know. So goddamn long. So long. But that's also the thing. Like Baldur's Gate 3 is another one. Larian, for all intents and purposes, are an indie studio. And they made one of the best games of all fucking time because they cared. They spent years working on it. It was in early access for what, like 3 or 4 years or something? And they were getting player feedback. And they were working on the player feedback. And even with their subsequent patches after release, all of their patches have been made mostly on player feedback. Like, what did players want to see? And they fucking added in. Like, for whatever reason, like, I understand, like, why they didn't do it. Because, you know, like, it gives you a clear, like, so that way you have to do a different playthrough. But, like, the whole Minthara thing, right there is its own, the best example I can think of right off the bat. Because it's, Allie, hydrate, we're hydrating with a Red Bull. Okay, I'm on a rant right now. I'm on an absolute rant. But, oh, what was it? Minthara. Because the players, they wanted her and Halsin so bad they made mods for it. So bad they made mods. And Larian, they're like, okay, this is what the players want. Guess what? They put in an official way to get her as a companion while you're doing a good playthrough with Halsin. Like, that is one of the, like, a blatant example. They added a mod. Yeah, they added official mod support, which is crazy. And the only thing I wish they would add is there's a mod for it, but once they added their the mod toolkit, which is like a slimmed down version of their engine and what they use for actual creation, and there's no level editor, somebody made a mod to unlock it because apparently it's there. So they made a mod to unlock the thing so you could create now entirely new campaigns. Like the whole level editor, everything. It's crazy. So if they officially released and supported it, which I don't think they are, I think Sven like said no because it's going to be like a lot of work or whatever to like officially support that kind of thing because it is a proprietary scripting language and it's a whole thing. Osiris, I think that'd be cool to experiment with. I just don't have the time. Well, I mean, I have nothing but time currently. Either way, like I'm fucking crazy excited for this. Because this is when I get to touch it for the first time. Ashes, I'm gonna be making so much shit on this. Fuck, I may as well just be like an Ashes of Creation content creator. There we go. Those are words. But yeah, like all of this, I love what they're doing. I love what they're going for. You know, this is essentially Second Life. It's like how Star Citizen wants to be like Second Life in space. This is Second Life in like fantasy. Because there's Pirate Software videos and everything like that too, where he's talking about it because he has a lot more experience with that and he's been in there since like pre-alpha, whatever. Like, he was talking about that too. And to get from like one corner of the map to the other is going to be hours. Like actual hours. Because you have to physically move your shit.
Legit can't wait for Ashes. If I have to wait too much, I'm gonna foam at the mouth. I mean, you could get in. Honestly, you could get like a third wave key, and then you could be playing it. And again, it probably, we talked about this. So like, if you really like kind of think that, like, do not, because you do not want to ruin your expectations for this game. You do not want to ruin your view of this game. But like, I'm sure phase 3 is where they're gonna be like a lot better. I came in mid-rant. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Ali, we're ranting about like the video game industry, and I don't know if you've seen anything on Ashes of Creation, but they're coming out with Alpha 2. They're releasing their Alpha 2, and this is the way they talk about it, the way it's all set up is it's basically the biggest, most lifelike MMO of all time, which is kind of what Star Citizen also wants to be, but space. So yeah, there's been a lot of Kickstarter MMOs that have come and failed. Some people think they're scams. Ashes of Creation, they've been very open with their development, which is nice. This, and then they're releasing Alpha 2, and to get into Alpha 2, there is a... Oh, I'm already fucking there. So, like, there's no obligation to ever get any of these, but these keys right here, you can get a third wave bundle for 100. You can get a second wave bundle for 110 or a first wave bundle for 120 for Alpha 2, because this game is in, like, full alpha. Kind of never heard of this. Oh, shit, okay. So, I mean, fuck, we might throw on a video. But it's essentially like the most ambitious MMO of all time, because their node system, they have, each server is going to have, what is it, like server-specific events depending on like whatever node gets leveled up. So like there's events on your server that could happen that nobody else ever will see. And you would be the only groups to see it. That kind of thing. That's the kind of content they're going for, where it's like a whole different fucking life. And it's wild. But these keys, what they do is it grants you access to the Alpha 2, which just started on Friday for their weekend testing for Wave 1. They're doing weekend testing. Yeah, Alpha 2 test starting Friday, November 8th, and continuing. It does. But right now, they say there's going to be like 20 some odd nodes or whatever, and nodes are going to be the things that grow, because once it hits a certain level, each node, surrounding nodes aren't ever going to be able to reach that level unless they get overthrown. That kind of thing. So like citizens of each node would have to like band together to overthrow that if they want their node to grow higher, that kind of thing. It's very complicated, but it's really fucking cool. And the way it is too is it's PvX. So there's essentially PvP always on, but there's stuff to keep it from being a gankfest type thing. But there's also another really cool thing, which I think is one of the coolest parts, is you could be like a crafter, because crafting and doing all that is going to be very vital. It's going to be, they want it to be a player first economy, and like all player done up. So people are going to actually have to pick skill sets like that to do. And you could be the best fucking blacksmith in however far, like 10 nodes or something on the other side of the world. So you're the one that everybody goes to. You make a shitload of money. And then if your node ever goes into war, like you can fight in that war. And what you're doing is you're essentially fighting for your fucking home, because that is your home. That is where all of your stuff is. And in order to physically move your stuff that you have, that you've made over however much time you've been playing, like your gear, your items, your housing, all that shit, you have to load up like a thing, and then you have to run a caravan, which can be fucking robbed, and physically move it. And while you're moving it, other players could come together and rob it and take your shit. So like you don't want to like move to a different node type thing, right? Like well, you could if you had a big enough guild. And what they're focusing on is they're bringing the grouping and everything back to, like, you want to group up in this MMO, because it makes life better. You want to be a part of a good group, a good guild, all of that. Whereas a lot of MMOs now, you could just do the entire game solo.
never talk to another person. That's not how this is going to be. It's looking for in an MMO. Got into them because of the anime Log Horizon and like the idea of specialized skills. Exactly. That's what this is going to be like. It's going to, like, everybody's going to need to have like their niche skills, and you can become a master in that skill, the one that everybody in the fucking server comes to you for a specific thing. World of Warcraft will be dead for you. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But that's the thing. We don't know exactly when Ashes is fully releasing, because we're in Alpha 2 now. The game's been in development for, I think it's like 5 years, something like that. I think it's been longer, but who knows? Who knows? Because again, it is extremely fucking ambitious. It's so ambitious. So we're getting drunk to try to move to then? Exactly. Unless you have a good fucking group of people around you, you got good fighters, you can pay mercenaries to guard your caravan. But that's the thing. You are fighting for your home if your node ever goes into war. Like, that is your fucking home. You're fighting to keep your home. So it gives you that extra, like, oomph to it. Because even, like, for node wars and territory wars, from what I've seen, take this with a grain of salt, because, again, I've never touched the game. I've only watched a shitload of content on it. But from what it is, like, it's not even going to be guild specific. So, like, if two people are citizens of two different nodes that go to war, like, they're going to fight each other, even if they're in the same guild. That kind of thing. Because, like, you're fighting for your node, not just your guild, your node. So the two guilds could be at war, and they could be at war with each other in the same guild type thing. It's fucking crazy. So there's going to have to be, like, that kind of coordination, too, with your people. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just all sounds fucking crazy. Here, I might throw on a fucking video really quick. Yeah, let's throw on a video. Here's a guide to Alpha 2. Development updates. They do, like, monthly live stream stuff like that. Oh, man. I know they had, like, a thing before. Let's see popular. This was 4 years ago. Holy shit. Apocalypse Alpha gameplay. Node Wars preview. Fuck, let's look at their Kickstarter video 7 years ago. 7 years ago. They have promised, which is another really big thing for me. Anything in Cash Shop will be fully cosmetic only, which is, if they hold to that. If they hold to it, which we hope they do.